I don't know. I'm born like this. I'm this intense human being, and that's it. And for the longest time, I thought it's a bad thing till I realized it's the best thing ever. So now I own it, and I love being passionate, and it's great.
That's 24 years ago now. So how did that whole journey take place?
I was 24. I was a mother of a 3-year-old. I never went to college. I was married at 20. I had one part-time employee to start with. I was literally doing door-to-door marketing. I literally went door to door to door, got business, hired one sales guy, and then over a period of time, you just grew.
And today you have, what is it?
I think we are probably 400 now. Indian businesses are not like foreign businesses. I know this is probably going to be aired world over, but the fact is that we protect our people. We protect families. I run a software development company by the name of Navigator Software. So we are a pure play software firm. We provide solutions for businesses, medium-sized businesses globally. We are partners with Salesforce, Microsoft, Amazon, NetSuite. I do this because that's the only thing I know how to do. I don't know much more. This is what I started doing when I was 24, and at 48, I still do the same thing. And it makes me money. It helps me buy art. That's it.
That's never a bad thing.
Yeah, not a bad side effect.
Not a bad side effect.
I feel you have a first-hand experience with businesses changing more than anyone else. Can we have one of the journeys on here?
Talk about one of my Indian customers, one of my Indian customers, and it's a brand called Durian.
And I guess as long as it's a side effect, that's where the whole fun comes in, as long as it doesn't become the main aspect and it's as a side effect. Like we refer to Three Idiots from time to time.
It's a double-edged sword, I would say, because when I started off, I was always altruistic person saying that, oh, I'm not in it for the money and I just want to do it because I'm passionate. But when you start making money, it's pretty addictive, huh? And then you want to make more money, and then you want to make even more money. And I'm not saying that I'm successful in the large scheme of things, like how today the numbers that you hear are so insane. But definitely, it's a lot of fun to make money, and not because you want to consume it for yourself, like some consumer, and you're not buying yourself a handbag or a car, but it helps you grow yourself. It helps you to grow your vision. Your company grows when you have more money. You can hire better people. You can give better solutions to your customers. So money is important for that, and to be stable. To go through times like COVID, and you don't have to break into your fixed deposits and actually are able to pay off people and rents and stuff and not let anybody go. Because Indian businesses are not like foreign businesses. I know this is probably going to be aired world over, but the fact is that we protect our people. We protect families. So to cut costs, we'll do other things. We won't let people go.
Yeah, there's definitely a bigger aspect of homeliness and like a family to businesses and people, how they work, especially in like, I would say in small, medium companies, people tend to stick around. This whole thing of churn is not as much, and they have a real ownership to it. So that's definitely something that I have noticed as well in companies here.
There is churn. I mean, attrition in the IT world is horrible. I mean, we have terrible attrition, but that's a certain kind of category of people who churn, because software developers have a life of 2 years as junior developers. They have to keep moving on if they have to get to a place in their careers. But when it comes to mid-management, and it comes to like our support staff and project managers and people who've been with you for a fair amount of time, it's not easy to let them go. And churn is actually not as much, because I think they sort of get involved. The vision is the same, and we do a lot of work for that. It doesn't happen automatically. And mind you, there's also this principle of letting the bottom 5% go. In your company, it's good management practice to let non-performing assets leave. So sometimes it's difficult, but again, that's when training comes in, when you try and upskill people. So to make sure they're not irrelevant after a point of time. As being a Marwari-led and born entrepreneur, it's very difficult to let people go. But some people you just live with, and then they become a part of the fabric, and it's fine.
But as you said, when the fabric gets the wrong color or it's not fitting in with the vision of the firm. Sometimes you have to let go no matter how hard it is. And sometimes it's harder than you realize it's going to be.
Earlier, the principles used to be very who generates revenue for me stays, who generates money for me stays. It has gotten complicated with R&D becoming a major part of companies, with growth becoming a major part of companies. And not just growth in revenue, but growth in mental health for your employees, growth in you as a company as a whole there has been a shift in the image. I feel we've been in the US, in Canada for a long time, so at least we get to think that way. What's your opinion about India? Is it similar?
I think the role of mental health for employees is definitely picking up. And I think lots of companies invest. We are investing in it. And yes, we are all very mindful of what happens in such stressful environments that we work in. So yeah, we're focused on mental health. And yeah, I think the younger generation coming in, they're also aware that there are options available for them today. And the job market in India is booming. So truth is that to even keep up with the Joneses, you have to put in schemes and things that we maybe some businesses can't afford. To be very honest, it's also a cost, and the long-term effect of that cost eventually plays out because people stay on and they're happier at work. So yes, I believe very strongly in good HR practices and strong work culture. But it's also difficult to sort of balance it at some points, because I also see that the 25-year-olds have a much lesser capacity to take in stress than what we maybe were at that age. I think it's the environment and people have more choices. So when we were 25, we would probably just have to do a lot of things because there was no choice. But today there's choice. So one can get up and go.
It's gone from a problem of too few to problem of too many, problem of plenty, as they call it now. Because you know that, okay, yeah, if this place is not working out, I have like 3 other options, and at the minimum. And
at any point, any developer has 4 offers in his inbox. At any point. And if the guy's good, you'll do anything to keep him back. Yeah, but we always strive to make our workplace very interesting. And I think one of the things we do at Navsoft that works for us is the kind of projects we get are very innovative, and we're always pushing our boundaries to do a little more for our customers and what they're actually expecting us to do. And for that, we push our guys to extend themselves, and that's where the fun is, because that's when they realize that the culture is not just about them getting a set of code to replicate or write continuously, but they have a chance to innovate.
Since you're on the topic of employment, why don't you take us to 5 steps that Navsoft has to hire good employees in the first place?
So, well, we have a very competitive culture, very strong and competitive environment. And I call that as a plus point, because I feel that's what gets the best to you and makes the best stay on. We have great programs for career progression. We believe that the best project managers that we get are not the ones we hire, but the ones we build. So our most successful project managers are the ones that came in as developers and then moved to senior developers and then became team leads and now project managers. And we've had some PMs who become vice presidents. So the whole process of training someone and investing in them, it's a program. It's a proper structured program. It's called LEAP. Then we do rewards and recognition, which is very important, where people recognize you. And though it's an expectation, but I think we have a good program where people are recognized for everything that they do. It could be, I remember one time there was this guy who actually cycled to our office, a 40-kilometer trek from his home, and there was a band, one of the Bengal bands that we still had. And this guy cycled, and his cycle broke down. As soon as we found out, the very next day we had an office party and we gifted him a cycle. And this is long back. This is talking about some maybe 15 years ago. But the culture of rewarding and recognizing people is very important for people to be a part of the organization. I think we have a good program for that. Most of all, I think we also have the newest thing we've done is a very strong training and development. We realized that training is just about the most important thing we can do. So we have a good program around training. So again, people who came in as like we have interns who we hired from different very ordinary universities, not even the grade 2, I would say a grade 4 university from some place in the backyards of Orissa. And these kids have become so good. I mean, in 2 years, they've become senior developers. So it's a training, it's a continuous training we give them that helps. So I think these are the 4 or 5 top things we do. And then, yes, what we do a lot is we vision a lot. We focus people down the line on our vision. So everybody should be speaking the same language. I'm not saying that my receptionist knows why she's there. I mean, I don't think it's gone to that level yet, but yes, at least we're trying really hard to make sure that people are aligned to why we are in business.
Lovely. Let's take it back a little bit. Let's talk about how Navigator Software came to be and where, I mean, as you said, this company was formed in 1999. That's 24 years ago now. So how did that whole journey take place?
I was 24. I was a mother of a 3-year-old, and I never went to college. So because I was married at 20, and dutifully I popped out a baby in a year's time. And then I was just at home. My daughter was around 2.5, and my sister-in-law told me that why are you not doing something with yourself? I said, but I'm not even been to college. She said, you've been to school. You can speak and read and write. What stops you from doing stuff? And interestingly enough, as a kid, I was always fond of tech. So my dad had actually given me a computer when I was 16 or 17. So I used to tinker around with it. I knew what BBS was, the first bulletin board service that came out, which was the first internet that actually happened back in 94. Imagine 93, 94, around that time. And so I was on top of technology, never knowing or never thinking that this would be a future for me. So I said, okay, let's do something with the internet, because 1999 is literally when the internet had, BSNL had come in, and they had started offering email addresses, and they had given internet connections. So I bought a book that was called Web Design for Dummies, and I started reading it, and I said, okay, let's start a web design company. So yeah, that's how it started. And my husband gave me a little place in his office.
Web design before it was cool.
Yeah, before the school, but is not cool because for 6 straight years I lost money because I had no idea what I was doing. I was just making websites. I was learning HTML. I was learning Photoshop. I had one part-time employee to start with, and I was literally doing door-to-door marketing. I literally went door to door and got business. I hired one sales guy, and then over a period of time, you just grow, Artens.
And today you have, what is it?
I think we are probably 400 now.
Wow. Isn't that crazy?
Of course, for me, it should be 4,000, but we'll get there soon. I have a plan for it. So, yeah.
Yeah, addiction to making more money is kicking in during the conversation. I love these stories of founders because I feel when people hear them, they can put themselves in your shoes at some point in your life and feel like, oh, I'm there. Why don't I? There are numerous people who come out of schools, and then technology now is much, much more widely available than it was then. Everybody can go out, learn web design, or everyone can go out, learn coding, or everyone can go out and start a podcast like me and Vishwadha. So it's kind of a funky world. I feel like the bar is as low as it can be or as it has ever been to learn. Anybody can just go out, learn, and start something. I think it's crazy. So where does your story go forward? You start a web designing company, and then what's the path between the web designing company started 6 years failure to 400 employees?
So the story goes that, nobody in India wants to pay you. And that has not changed in 25 years. That story of India not wanting to pay you has not changed, mind you. So nobody understands websites. Nobody understands why it's so important for marketing. So even in 2004, people are wondering, why should I be paying for websites? Like, what's the big deal? So we turned our focus westwards, and we started participating in trade shows in the US and the UK, and we started picking up business from there. And earlier was small web design businesses. Then gradually we started making web applications that became bigger, larger. So the team became bigger to support them. We picked up business from Stuttgart from Mercedes-Benz. So one of our customers was, in very early days, was we made a quality control system for the corrosion testing back in the day, 2004, I think it was. And that was fascinating because that was our first really big project where we understood how and what the foreigners need in terms of pixel perfect design. And that set us thinking on how we could expand that market. So then we started concentrating primarily on Europe and then the US. And then as we moved along, we became partners with principals, and we got into ERP. And then in the last 10 years, primarily, we've been doing a lot of integration work between Microsoft Dynamics and Salesforce and NetSuite and this and that. So the business has now become very centered towards improving businesses and making them frictionless. So now I would say one of our strongest sectors that we work in is retail. And our strength is where do you remove the friction from a retail journey, an omni-channel retail journey. So if you're buying something in store and you want to return it in another store, or if you're buying something online and return it in store. So this omni-channel experience is something we started off nearly 7 or 8 years ago. So nobody understood omni-channel. Again, we had a platform which won an award in India, and we were trying to get it. We were trying to get funded for it, but we realized that again, if I get into that funding business and the venture cap business, I'm going to lose myself over a period of time. I don't think we were prepared to lose us. So we continue to grow. It's organic. We never took any funds from banks or from lenders or from private equity or anyone. So our growth was slow, but it's organic. So we know what we can deliver, and we are very confident of our deliveries. And it's something that customer centricity is so important, and it's so important for my customer to recommend me at the end of the day. So our whole journey was always customer based. So what is it that the customer wants, and how can we fulfill his needs and requirements? So we grew and expanded and learned and hired and brought in skill sets, grew skill sets. And today I would say we support a whole number of medium-sized businesses in the US in the retail sector, and we take care of their whole omni-channel journey from the websites, from the e-commerce sites to their warehousing and inventory management and point of sale. So that's where we are now. And, we love it. And of course, AI is a part of our journey. We've set up a data analytics team. We've got a whole program going on how we could use generative AI to help these customers and to make life better.
You skimmed over this part very quickly. The fact that people don't understand the value of websites when it comes to marketing. How did you go about educating them on that bit, or how do you explain to a customer that, this is what you need and why a website or even a very basic landing page that if someone Googles your name, this is something that pops up that gives them a basic idea. Okay, this is the person, this is the company, this is what they do. How do you explain that to somebody who has never really gotten into that journey or who has never really understood that side of the world?
I mean, this is so far back that this is back in the early 2000s, because now it's not even a question. It's like printing a business card. A website is like printing a business card. But yes, in those days, the answer to that question was always giving a sense of what the future is going to be and telling people that this is where the future is and this is where it's going to be. So you had some believers and you had some non-believers. And I think we chose companies that had a vision and that had the ability to think about why it's important for them to do things that are cutting edge or are future based. So, those who did had an edge. Those who invested in SEO, those who invested in digital marketing, the businesses grew. And those that didn't, they had to do it eventually, but at the cost of growth and at the cost of time. So yes, selling to someone and selling especially ideas that are not of today, because I had the same problem with my product BoostMySale 7-8 years ago, when nobody understood omni-channel and nobody got it. But at least in India, nobody got it. But in the West, that had already become something that people were looking for. So you just have to shift your market. You just have to look at where the customer is and start with a small bunch and then make them your heroes and then use those customers to grow your base.
I kind of disagree on the fact that when you say that now people think that website is the first thing that they do. And now the thing has gone so far that now the website again has gone on the back of the priority list. The first thing that a lot of them do is start an Instagram channel. And a lot of the times that's the only thing that they have. However, Akhil and I, at least, we've seen a lot of this and we've gone through this experience with a few people where they've come and said that, hey, you don't have a website, or hey, XYZ person doesn't have a website. So what do we find? Where do we find these guys? I think a website still adds that little, seal of authenticity to a business. And a lot of people now have moved to like a social media platform, mostly Instagram, to find that seal. So do you still come across people who say that, oh yeah, we don't have a website, we're doing this through Instagram, or we're using social media only?
I'm so grateful to God that I haven't come across anyone who has that problem. Because if I was to come across anyone who had this problem, then I would probably just excuse myself, because it's not a conversation that I can even enter. It's just too much history in this. It's if you don't have a website yet, I would say you're not serious about it, and you're just faffing around. You're on Instagram for fun. You don't really care. And there's lots of scammers, by the way, on Instagram. There's so many scammers who don't have contact pages, who don't have contact information, or which are don't have authenticity. So a website brings authenticity. So if you're an authentic business, you would have a website, even if it's a one-pager.
I have a theory on that. I feel like wherever the footfall is where the market goes, right? Like you said, US wanted my stuff or the West wanted my stuff, so I started catering to them. Today, me building a website, to get SEO on the website, to get search engine optimization on the website, would take me a lot of money if I'm something generic. Because that each of those words have become so expensive. Google AdSense has become super expensive. We had this person come on the podcast and he was doing security cameras for the house. And his camera was worth $4. To advertise it on Amazon, it would have taken him $12 per camera because of how expensive the camera word was. To mail it out to everybody, it was taking him $4.50. It was taking him 50 cents in US mail, bulk mail per camera. He just sent out free cameras and built a SaaS plan.
There are different marketing channels for different products. So I'm no expert at marketing to tell you what works, what doesn't. But to answer Vishwa's question on why a website is important, is for me is authenticity. And I'm not saying your website is something that you have to sell or you have to market. But what the website does, it's like an address. It's your address virtually. So if you're a product, selling a product through your website or through your e-commerce business, yes, it's a cost you'll have to bear. If you can afford Google AdWords, yes, actually, I agree, it's ridiculous what we pay for ads. But there are ways around everything. So, you have to be on Instagram, you have to have all the social marketing channels, but not in lieu of having the address, the place where you talk about yourself. Look, on Instagram, you have a little square. You have the attention span of probably 0.03 seconds. So you got to be very good at marketing to get someone's attention in that little space. And then for someone to click and then go. And then where does a person go? He goes to some kind of a page where there's a shopping cart. And how does that shopping cart work? If it's not connected to some backend, it's not connected to some inventory management or something at the back, not even inventory management, that's very large, but to some product information management system. And how do you manage this? So like I said, if it's a hobby and you're doing it just for fun, you can afford to be for a certain kind of channel. But if you're a business, you have to follow the rules of business today, and that's it.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm agreeing with you, but the mindset of a person is very like, humans at the core are still those primitive beings. We understand what we understand and we don't understand what we don't understand, right? So when you talk about inventory management and when you talk about a page that shows my product and shows the details, Amazon does that for you. When you talk about a page that shows the photos of my clippings, Instagram does it for you. I feel like the domination of these platforms is because of the simplicity of the human mind of understanding, like sabji mandi. You go to a sabji mandi to buy sabji, and the mind understands that, oh, these are the sabji mandis of the day. To get attention, sabji mandi, I will go to Instagram.
So who's selling in a sabji mandi? The manufacturer or the trader or the retailer? So, it again depends. Yeah, so then it depends. What's your size? Are you selling in a sabji mandi or do you have a Reliance Fresh? So it all depends on scale, size. Let's see, the catch what I said is that, are you doing it? Is it a hobby? Is it a business? How do you look at yourself? And where do you want to be? There are a whole bunch of businesses that have made it so big in the US just selling on Amazon. Amazon sellers are, the 3PLs are really big, and they don't need to have websites because they're traders. They buy from somewhere and they sell somewhere. But the scale of operations there, if you want to make any money, has to be so big that your business is then different. It's not an online business. It's a marketplace business. But if you have a brand, if you have a product, or if that's where you want to be, then yes, you need to have an e-commerce site. You need to have the whole system that runs it. So it all depends on what your business model is and where you want to be.
I have a very different take on it. I don't think humans are thinking so much. They are saying, what is the easiest thing to do today? To build a website or to even have a basic landing page, you first need to go out and buy your domain. It requires you to put in some money. Instagram is free.
Vishnu, if you're meeting these kind of people, my suggestion to you would be change your social circle, okay? Or if you meet these people, educate them, please. Don't indulge in this conversation any further, because this is not even. I mean, okay, even if you're on Instagram and you don't have your own domain, for the love of God, nobody's going to buy from you. So if it's jyotischappals.com, you still have to have jyotischappals.com to sell something. You can't, like I said, move away from these guys, whoever you're meeting.
I was waiting to get to this point. I was waiting for the conversation. Like I was trying to see how far I have to push to get to this tipping point. That was it.
I was just being very, very polite, to be honest. So now I think that's out of the window.
Yeah, I was trying to break that wall. That's why I kept pushing.
So well, yeah, I'm not going to be candid anymore. So tell me, what do you want me to say? What are my opinions on what? I have lots of opinions.
The reality is that all kinds of people are going to watch this episode. Hopefully in the future, even more diversity of people come out and watch this episode. And there are going to be people with the opinion that I don't need a website.
And that's just fantastic, because everyone has a choice and everybody must have an opinion. So these are mine, and I stand by mine.
What if you're of the opinion that I want to do something big and I want to build a brand and then I just want to sell on Amazon? Right. So if we wish to break that, how do we?
You cannot have a brand on Amazon. You cannot. See, let's look at a company like Boat, or let's look at big successes. They started with selling on Amazon. And eventually what happens is you start seeing the marketing. You see the trends. You build segmentation. You understand who your customer is. So I would say that Amazon is a great place to start off with. But you become a brand when you start owning more things about just the price and some features about the product. So if you want to be a business and you want to start calling yourself a business, unless and until you don't have your own e-commerce site, and I'm not saying that you have to sell from the site, but there's so many D2C brands today that have made it big, and Boat is one of them. So they started with Amazon and they went out to their own sites, and now they do, because you see the margins on your own site are so much more. You eventually end up making not even 8 to 10% when you sell on Amazon, even lesser sometimes. If you're a manufacturer, you can make a certain amount of money because you're manufacturing the product. But if you're a trader, you have to buy from somewhere, sell somewhere. The costs of Amazon are not normal. So today it's become a trading business. That's where people are at, and the returns, you have to pay for so much more. I mean, you have to accommodate a lot of costs that businesses don't realize when they get in. It's only after a year of them working through do they understand what the cost of selling on Amazon is. And mind you, I am an Amazon partner, so I tell people to get on Amazon because it is imperative. Like, you have to be on Amazon to be able to sell. You have to be on your own website to sell. You have to be in a Shopper Stop. You have to be in a Reliance. You have to be everywhere. So it all depends on what do you sell, where do you sell, where your customers. You have to be where customers are, essentially. And at some point, if you want to make money, you have to draw your customers to you. And then when you draw them to you and you have a great experience, then you are in a place where you can start making some money.
Let's make it simple and let's give it chronology. What are the steps to me becoming a huge e-commerce store in the near future if I am a nobody, right?
Have a really good product. First, believe in your product. Own your product. Really respect your product. Because if you believe in it, then the person who you're selling to will believe in it. So if you want to sell computer accessories and peripherals, Amazon is the place to be, because that's where everyone's coming to buy anything and everything. So I would not just say Amazon, I would say Amazon, Flipkart, even Reliance now, the JioMart. I would say go get yourself on every online channel that you can sell on, because you'll have segmented customers coming to different people, to different places. Once you're on Amazon, invest in ads. Start advertising your product on Amazon. Look for a great content writer. Get them to write the best titles. Study that. It's an art. It's a full science on how to sell on Amazon. Invest in a great photography team. Take the best pictures. Make videos. Do what it takes to get your product to stand out. And yes, you can be a loss leader to begin with, if you want to get to a certain market share. And then once you make some money, once you have some cash flows and you start getting some, some more easy, then invest in a website and start getting your return customers to come to your website. Offer them something on your website that you're not offering on Amazon. Offer them, maybe buy one, get something free. I don't know. There's so many marketing ways so many promotions you can do. So yes, the second step would be definitely have a website. Invest in some marketing of the website. And then get onto social channels, get onto Instagram, get onto other places where your customers would be now. I don't know. Computer peripherals, yes. Marketplaces. I don't think anybody's buying mice off Instagram yet. So clothes, yes, I would say Instagram, but not computer mice. So yeah, it's very simple. It's pretty standard. And of course, you have to have your distribution and dealer network to be able to sell your products in different. I mean, if you're a manufacturer, I'm assuming that you're a manufacturer of gaming mice.
I'll start with drop shipping and then I'll start manufacturing.
So if you're drop shipping it, you're bringing it from China or from Taiwan or whatever, then as you know, all these factories in Taiwan and China do generic products. So right at the base, get something that is a differentiator between your gaming mouse and your competition. Something, somewhere. Own the product. Know why your product has to sell better. Otherwise, it'll just be a very small, thin margin game. And the moment you have one bad lot, which you can't control, because the quality control systems may not be that great, and you have one lot that gets returned, you lost all the money you made. So be very mindful of this business. It's so many businesses have been wiped out because of returns, and they don't realize it. There's some rules now. 10 years ago, the rules were being built. Now the rules are there. So if you want to make money, come to us. We'll teach you how to make money on Amazon.
Priyanka, have you heard about this new platform, ONDC, that's coming into India, and how that's going to transform the buyer-seller network?
It's very promising, but it's tough. Like, it's not as simple. Like, UPI got picked up very quickly because there was something in the simplicity of UPI. ONDC still, you still have to go upload pictures. You have to do a lot of work. And what's the benefit today? I don't know. We have customers who want to get onto ONDC, but it's a rigor. of course, it's something that will have to be worked upon. I don't think that business model is still so set yet. And similar to the B2B platforms that came in, which were selling, which were B2B sites where you could go and buy bulk products from, they haven't really picked up. I mean, they've lost money like mad. So even ONDC, because it's government funded, it's something that, of course, will have longevity. But I don't know whether the Kirana stores are really there yet. I mean, even see, look, Jio has been trying really hard to get Kiranas online, and they're struggling. They're struggling like crazy because in India the margins are, they're too thin. I mean, not just in India, but the mindset of the Pania who runs that Pania store is still not that forward thinking. His son has to come into the business for him to get digital. Now, is his son going to come into the Kirana business, or is he going to be an IT software engineer? Is the question. So I don't know. I'm still confused because I've been hearing this whole story and I've been following it in India, that where they moved to is digital payments. For sure, every Kirana store has the ability for you to pay and they deliver to your house and stuff. But getting onto platforms, still not successful. Very hard. And that's why you have Swiggy and Instamart and Dunzo and Blinkit and whatnot, where they have the ability to pick up something from the shop and bring it to you. So that I think is still picked up because it's easier for the might of a Swiggy to make a platform where they can integrate the product. You see, putting something on a website is very difficult because the amount of investment that goes into photographing, keeping it updated, like, if an FMCG product changes its packaging in 3 months' time, Big Basket will give you the new packaging, a photo. But can you imagine a small Kirana store doing that? No chance. So it's a very complicated story. It's not as simple as you think it is.
Definitely. So what I was understanding from it, it's more about helping people get onto the different platforms, and the way they have these seller apps and buyer apps set up. It allows each buyer and each seller to have a lot more options on their palette as compared to with Amazon or with the Flipkart or something like that, where, as you said, there's a lot that goes into marketing for Amazon, or there's a lot that goes into selling on Amazon. So whatever I've understood about it, what ONDC and the apps on ONDC try to do is make that entire process much easier for both the sellers and the buyers, so that someone on a smaller scale, like a Kirana store or something like that, can get the recognition it needs without having to put in as much, as you were saying, that it was required on an Amazon.
No matter what you do, you still have to put up some stuff. And I think that challenge in a small business is the inability to do any marketing or to have the wherewithal to even put up basic material. They need somebody to do it for them. So it's really difficult to explain this, but only when you work with a small vendor will you understand where they are at when it comes to their digital efficiency. Because you still have to do some stuff. And do they have time to do it? No, they're running a shop from 10 to 7 or 9 to 8. I mean, Indian Kirana stores are so hardworking. And they're so lean when it comes to manpower. And so frugal when it comes to spends that even getting onto the app, you have to have a vision, you have to know why. There's some investment required, even if it's time and some amount of effort. So I think if given the right training and the right marketing, it would get there. But today there's very little marketing also done about ONDC. You'll read about it in the newspapers, but there's no advertisement, there's no push. So the push also has to come from somewhere for people to adopt it. So I think maybe it's still very early days, I would say. And it also needs a certain kind of size. So I think give it another year and we'll see where it goes.
I have a theory that technology gets rid of middlemen. I feel that is the primary target of technology. Right? For example, stockbrokers they've gone, finished, off the face of the world. Stockbrokers are over. The commissions used to be 6%, 7%. Now they are dead. Zero. Right? Let's continue the talk of Kirana people. It's a very heavily segregated industry. And the story in the US is that mom and pop kirana stores are dead. they aren't they aren't there. Everywhere they used to be there is a Walmart, there's a Kroger, there's a Costco, there's X, Y, Z. India, they are still there. Do you think they have survival? Do you think in the future they can survive without technology?
They will do what the customer wants. So if the customer demands you to have technology, they will invest in technology. But if your footfalls are still coming, or if your customers still buying, walking into your store and picking up a product and they're very price sensitive, then they will offer that. So I see in Bombay, I live in Bombay, so you have so many, you have the D-Marts of the world, you have the Reliance Freshes, you have Big Basket, you have Nature's Basket, you had Food Hall, which just shut down, unfortunately. And then you have Noble Chemist beneath my home, you have Wellness Forever. There are a bunch of names that come as chains. And they are the Kirana store style, but you know what they've done? They've become their own brands. They, like Noble Chemist, may have 20 stores or 15 stores in Bombay. They've adopted technology to the best that they could, but they have a set of customers who are their customers in this area. So, for example, if I live in Worli Mahalakshmi area, Noble Chemist here knows all the buildings, and they have their salesman who's gone out and taken numbers, and they're on a WhatsApp group. You can order on WhatsApp. So their common customer who's on WhatsApp so these guys are fully on WhatsApp. So WhatsApp has become their technology outlet, I would say. And that's how they sell today. But maybe not a website, because they don't need to. But they have their salesperson sitting on WhatsApp taking your orders, and they have my name, they have my number, and each time you buy something, they'll send you a QR code, and you pay on the QR code. So their business model is very successful. So they've taken technology to what they need, and exactly what the customers prepared to spend on. But if they're going to raise prices because they have a fancy website, then Mrs. Shaw downstairs is not going to pay 2 rupees more for a packet of chips because you had technology and you thought you're doing a better job. No. So I think when it comes to a certain kind of product base and industry, you have to follow the rules that the customer sets for you.
You look at something as simple as home delivery. You look at, you talk about customer sensitivity and how they are very, very, focused on what their customer needs. The moment COVID hit, the moment people were like, yeah, we're not going to stores and we need deliveries to be done, every single small store had somebody or the other getting out and doing deliveries. And since it was in that very immediate radius, they didn't really need much infrastructure. They needed probably 1 or 2 extra people to do that delivery. And suddenly you were getting deliveries from everywhere. Every place which earlier people were like, yeah, we don't deliver, or we can't deliver. Everywhere, every small shop suddenly developed this habit of delivering. And a lot of places were like, you can't pick it up. How about you send a Swiggy Genie to us and we will send it on that Swiggy Genie to you. So they adopted technology in that way, where they were like, we will be aware of all the possibilities that you have, and you can then choose what you want to do. You want to send us your car, you want to send us a Swiggy Genie, you want to send us a Dunzo, that's your choice. And as Priyanka was saying, everything is available. They send you photos on WhatsApp. You ask them for one thing, you get like 35 photos on WhatsApp, and they're like, yeah, pick and choose what you want.
I think that the Indian Kirana Banya is actually a really smart guy, because he'll keep his costs down and he'll make sure his customer is satisfied. And if I get my product on time at the right price and the right quality, why am I complaining? So I'm so grateful that we have 1.4 million people. I'm really grateful. My daughter who's in college, she comes back every semester and says, Mom, I'm just so grateful for so many people, because there's so many people to do things. You have guys who can pick up stuff and bring it to you. I mean, my daughter studies at this college near Boston called Wellesley, and there is it's probably 35 miles from Boston. So whenever she wants to order Indian food, the only person who can give her Indian food are these 2 places in Wellesley, and they're very expensive and they're not as great. There's no way she can get food from Boston. There's just no way. So if it was India and if it was Bombay and I want to order something from Bandra, so what is far away? Swiggy tells me it's far away, but I have a choice, There is a driver waiting to pick up that food and bring it to me. So I just feel that we are really lucky that we have the manpower to even use the technology to make it easy for us. I think the quality of life we live in this country is insanely good. So, okay, let's not talk about the pollution and about the other small things that are deterrents. But I feel that we, at least middle class and above, they have a good life. There is no reason to complain anymore. Everything is better. My grandmother tells me that she is now 92, and she tells me that I am now living the best life I ever had. Because she says that when I was a child and she used to live in Rajasthan, she said we had no water. We used to not get fresh vegetables. We used to not have electricity. I mean, how can you compare today's life and that life? So while we all say, oh, purane zamane achhe the and all that, this is an age of enlightenment, and actually is. I mean, we really are living that age. There's a beautiful book called Enlightenment by Steven Pinker, I think. And that talks about all the great things we've done, even Factfulness by Hans Rosling. It's one of Bill Gates' favorite books. It talks about the real facts, that we are really living in a great time. And of course, we are using our resources, and that's another story, global warming, and so on and so forth. But look at every indicator today, every economic indicator.
It goes back to the bar is so low to actually live a very nice life. The bar is so low to learning. The bar is so low for everything, because everybody likes to believe if I was in the past, I would be this king. I would be Chandragupta Maurya, or I would be Genghis Khan, right? Nobody realizes you could also be like farmer 1,572,000 whose sheep just got stolen. So like you are not that farmer, because you get to be so much more now. We kind of forget. It's always like the old bias.
There's a word for this. It's also called the age of abundance. Again, famous book by Peter Diamandis, Abundance. And when he talks about the fact is that we have all our resources around us. So we just don't know how to harness them yet. We have all the water in the world, 76% water, whatever percent we are oceans. And all we have to do is find out a cheap way to convert that water into fresh water. And then you're set. We have all the sun in the world. We have all the, we have nuclear energy. We just have to find a way to harness it. So actually, we are abundant. Now it's up to us to use it and find out ways. I mean, he gives us a really interesting example of the King of Siam. He served the King of England dinner in aluminum plates, say 150 years ago, because that was considered to be more expensive than gold. Because aluminum was not produced the way we produce it today. And then came electrolysis, and then you could make aluminum cheaply. So then all it did was take technology to change something that he thought was so little to make it abundant. And the same thing with diamonds, by the way. So lab-grown diamonds versus mined diamonds. It's go the same way. And people will realize that the mined diamond industry is a scam. So, they'll all move to mined lab-grown diamonds. So, again, technology.
Funnily enough, there are also too many mined diamonds, so they have to actually control the amount of mined diamonds that float into the market. Plus, there are now, they keep trying to hide it behind regulation. Even at its core, at its DNA, they are the same. Mined diamond versus man-made. They're the same ditto thing, right?
And it's just so great and the carbon offset. I mean, the amount of carbon it takes to mine a diamond is in million tons as opposed to grams when you produce lab-grown diamond. I mean, I just bought some lab-grown diamonds, and I've only been buying lab-grown diamonds as jewelry for my kids or whoever wants something, and I refuse to buy a mined diamond. And so many people say, oh, are you sure this is not a real diamond? I say, okay, prove it. And I don't care whether it's a real diamond in your eyes or not. It does a job. I ain't investing. It's like buying an Hermes bag, to be honest. I'm not making Hermes richer because I want to put Hermes on my shoulder. It's making me 10 lakh rupees poorer. I'm okay. I'm absolutely okay.
And these perceived value conversations are always very interesting and kind of sad. They are actually getting sadder with the LVHM guy becoming the richest man on the planet because people are still buying brands and they are like out buying brands than they ever have before.
Dude, apparently LV has started a store for pets, which also had a line outside it in Paris where they were like a store that they started just for dogs and pets. Forget people giving perceived value to themselves. Now we've gone to a level where that's perceived value everywhere.
The moment a human being starts perceiving value himself, he will eventually know what he's prepared to pay for something. And I think value is the key word. What is the value of something? So you take leather and you add value to it and you sell it for something more. So you take like hide and you make it into leather and then you process it and you add a nice design and you do a markup and make it really great. And I'm not saying I don't own designer bags. I'm not saying I don't own expensive cars or I don't invest in luxury. I love luxury. But I think that the place where the world is going to today, and also because I'm in the business of retail, I understand costs so well, and I understand costs of products, marketing, sales, delivery, distribution. There are so many costs, but even after you add up all those costs, there's no justification for why a brand would charge that kind of money for something. It's just preposterous. And the best thing is, the kids our age, and like all our kids, all my daughter who's 27 and my younger one who's 19, they refuse to buy the brands. They will not walk into a store and be asked to wait outside, first of all. I mean, they'll just say...
That's the thing that surprised me the most. I remember the first time I'd seen, I don't remember which store it was, and I saw that they had like a, those airport, those queues, those line manager thingies set up outside it, and they had like, you had to wait outside, and I was like, yeah, that's it. I don't know which store this is, but this is just like something that I don't want to do. If I want to buy something, I refuse to go and wait in line first to be able to even enter the store to see if I want to buy something or not.
And there's a myth that in stores it's cheaper. It's not cheaper. It's the same price on their website. Like I've been to like wholesale factory outlets, right? And my parents are like, no, this will be cheaper here. I just open it on the website, they have the same deal. It's warehousing for them, right? It's not really that.
The only place you can make money in luxury apparently is if you go to Hermes and you buy a bag in Paris and you come out with, say, a Kelly bag or a what's it called, a Birkin, and you have a second-hand market. I mean, you have a market for a bag, so if you bought it for X, you could just sell it for 2X shipping. So it's actually the best investment to make. And that's what I get to hear from people who buy this now all the time. Like, hey, it's the best investment, better than paintings, better than this, because you're getting double your money in literally an hour. So you know what, guys, go and stand in front of, get your appointment at Hermes, fly to Paris, stand there and get your bag. So, but I mean,
it's the same thing with sneakers.
Yeah, sneakers. I mean, so many things. It's again because there's a market for it. Somebody's prepared to pay you double for it, right? Somebody's so desperate for that bag that they will pay you double for it.
That bag, those sneakers, there was concert tickets, those sports tickets. You see so many of these Taylor Swift eras tour tickets sold out in minutes, and then they're resold for so much more.
I would still say Taylor Swift is a great experience. You go there, you listen to music. So again, it's all about consumer and it's a demand supply. Like, what are you prepared to pay? What is the demand for this thing? So it's all about the customer at the end of the day. What is he prepared to pay for something? And if you're a smart marketeer, you tap into that and you get... I'm only waiting for my customer to say, hey, your product is so good, I'll pay you 5X for it. It's not happening, man. Think of a way out. How do I do this?
You have to do what these luxury brands do and like price it 2X, 3X and then say, oh yeah, look, I'm giving you a 70% discount.
No, there's this study actually in which you place 5 wine bottles, right? And you show the price of each wine bottle and then you make strangers taste the wine, right? They taste all of it and they tell you which one is tasty and which one is trash. So people unanimously, like the mind, actually, they put probes on the mind to see what it's mapping. They enjoyed the expensive wine more than they enjoyed the cheap wine. And at the end of the experiment, it was revealed that they were all the same wine. And you're just enjoying the expensive wine more. The perception is adding taste. So maybe just price everything more expensive and it'll be tastier.
Did you read about that thing, this experiment they did in New York called Payless, where they had these shoes? So they created a brand called Payless, Payless, and they opened this shop in in a very premium area in New York. And I think some many brands used to have their stores in that particular store in that space. So they created a sort of a fake store. Nobody knew it was fake, and they invited customers to come in, and they really made the presentation like a very expensive Louboutin store or something. And they had shoes in all kinds of all categories, and they got people to come in and pay $500, $600 for the shoes. And people walked in and paid that money. And then after the experiment was over, it was a social experiment, they informed everyone that every shoe there was not above $30 or $40. So it was just the presentation, the branding, and the perception. And they refunded the money, I think, back to the customers because it was just an experiment. And somebody yesterday was telling me about Black Label. And this guy's, he sells alcohol to duty-free stores all over the world. So he said that Black Label was apparently downgraded by the brand because they wanted to push Blue Label up. And in that experiment, they downgraded the brand completely. And that's how the Japanese whiskeys and the House of Suntory came up. So they hit themselves in their own foot because they cheapened themselves to push one of their brands up. That didn't get what they needed, but then Hibiki and Yamazaki and all these other whiskey brands became so popular. So coming from the horse's mouth. And those Jap brands used to earlier be sold for $65 and now they're at $140.
Black Label is another funny story because Black Label by itself, people like to say Blue Label is amazing and Black Label is amazing. Again, if you do a blind taste test, you'll probably put Blue Label last. Yeah. Other thing is, they are all blended whiskeys. They're supposed to be cheaper than single malts. But people look at single malts that this is from the same ground, same grain of wheat or rye or whatever you're drinking. So it's same consistent quality. Versus Black Label is assorted whiskey all put together in a single barrel, aged for 2 years and given to you. And you think, oh, this is so special. Why? Because it's branded.
It's the same thing with stout beer. I remember, Akhil, you told me this story of how stout beer came to be. That, they used to take all the leftover beer, put it together, and that's how that dark, thick beer came out to be.
Yeah. So in England, they could not buy beer because the lower end of earning people were not wealthy enough to buy beer, right? The upper class would drink beer and then they would leave beer in different jugs. So they would keep taking all the jugs and throwing that in a barrel. And at the end of the day, it would look like, black. It would be a black barrel of random beer just chucked together. They started calling that a stout and they started drinking that. And now stouts are supposed to be like the higher end, the posh beer. It's supposed to be, oh my God, I have a stout. So all the humans are just funny people, all of us. And we just we find stories or we find some random thing somewhere and we start labeling it as fancy.
Dude, you look at even pizza and fondue. It's all supposed to be like farmer food. Fondue was supposed to be, you have a day old leftover bread and cheese and you sort of mix it and have it together. And today, like, it's such a, you look at it with such a posh, you have that has a very high class thing to it. Same thing with pizza. It was like farmer food again. It wasn't something that was very, posh, or like it wasn't something that was treated very highly, because even today you go to a lot of Italian fine dining and they'll have a lot of pasta and stuff, but they won't do pizza. But now pizza has like become I don't even think it can be considered Italian anymore, the number of toppings that have gone on it from all over the world. So yeah, we tend to take something and enjoy it, and then just wherever it's come from, it ends up taking on an eventuality that I don't think a lot of people expected it to take on.
That's how the human brain is, and that's how we we grow, and that's how we change, and that's how we adapt. And some of the, like, pizza is a great adaptation. I love it. So I think it's amazing that as a collective, humankind has also become so small in terms of the fact that the earth is really flat. it wasn't. It's not anymore. It's just round. It's like everybody's really so integrated, and everything's available everywhere. Uh, Information is available so fast, so quick, that the barrier has also gone completely. And we're all living the same lives in some way or the other.
I will change the very prominent topic of discussion because, you talk about the kirane wala and you're like, he will change or she will change, right? You talk about a business who is on Amazon and who starts booming. They will change. They will build a website because they will have to. I feel you have a first-hand experience with businesses changing more than anyone else, at least on this call, and are more than most people in India. Because businesses come to you and they have to adapt and they have to change and they go on a journey with you together with Navsoft, right? Can we have one of the journeys on here? A business journey which just transformed the business from where it was and where it is today, and how did you make it happen?
Talk about one of my Indian customers, one of my Sri Lankan customers, and it's a brand called Durian. It's the brand called Durian Furniture. So they came to us, I think, 8 years ago. And they came to us because they wanted to upgrade their web presence. I mean, their e-commerce website wasn't doing well. It was very poorly received, wasn't fast. They just weren't getting enough hits. And we supported them. We consulted with them. We told them where they were, what was the problem. And there were many technical flaws of the website. But moreover, we told them that they should be selling on marketplaces in those days. So we said, you should be on Amazon, you should be on Pepperfry and Urban Ladder and all the other big brands that were selling for furniture. So we first fixed their website, we fixed their inventory, we fixed their warehousing in terms of getting information. We got them on all these platforms, and we saw how the journey, they changed as a company. Their very understanding of customers changed because they suddenly got this information from customers. They got so much data about who the customers were. Now, you see what happens, they had many retail stores, mind you. Maybe they had 15 or 20 all over the country. Today, I think they're at 40 retail stores or more. They're one of India's most profitable furniture brands because they have been able to create an omni-channel presence. Now, if you walk into their store and you like a sofa, they have these big kiosks that they built, and you can go to the website, which is again omni-channel. So they have all the shades, all the colors, all the kinds of sofas that they keep all around. You can order in that store. So you can sit on a sofa, see if you like it. You don't like the same color. From the store itself, you can order another color for yourself, and it'll be shipped to you. So that to get to that place where a customer can come in and feel that he has access to the entire catalog of a huge brand. They have thousands and thousands and thousands of SKUs. They probably have 25,000 SKUs today. For them to be able to sift through that in an intelligent, visually appealing manner and make a decision and be able to buy something on the spot is the transformation of the company. As opposed to 5 years ago, somebody going to the store, sitting in and liking something, but not having access to that huge inventory they have in their warehouses or in the other stores. So the process of building this omni-channel platform, connecting it to the ERP, connecting it to their CRM, to their front-facing customer service agents, making a platform where it all comes together. All the orders are are visible to everyone down the supply chain from the perspective, from the order management side, and for the management to see an as-is basis of where their stocks are moving, gives them infinite possibilities. And they've changed because their marketing is so strong now. Their ability to put promotions out is so strong because they know on a daily basis what they've sold, what's not selling. And that's helped them to now expand to newer markets. So now, while they've gotten themselves set with furniture, that whole business is okay. They've gone on to making doors, they've gone on to making different things because that much time is freed out. from your furniture business because that's now on autopilot. So the company can start thinking of doing other things. So from being a company that just sold sofas and beds, today they're they sell everything from tables to chairs to office furniture, home furniture. And, I asked them that, what do you think of IKEA coming in? Does it scare you? He said, no, actually, we're really happy because once you get on IKEA and you start experiencing IKEA, then more and more people will come to Duran as well. Because because the ads are so good that, when you're searching for IKEA, Duran's ad will also pop up on Google. So as a brand, as an experience, I'm so proud of what they've done as a company and how much they've believed in us. And we've consulted with them. We've told them what we think is great for them, and they've supported us by actually following what we suggested. So as a brand, I think it's a great story.
Yeah, I think this whole experience of actually being able to order something while sitting in the store, while experiencing it, sort of takes the best of both worlds and combines it together to a certain extent. Because you're online, a lot of people have this thing that, oh, how is it actually going to look? How does it feel? What is the thing? So here you're giving them that experience as well as the access to the online catalog. You see the colors, you see everything, and you have that facility available to you right in the store, and you don't have to do anything by yourself. I think that it's in itself is amazing.
And that's exactly what IKEA does. So something which is as big as IKEA, as a brand like IKEA, which is so powerful and so strong and so old, they do exactly the same thing. So these guys are able to pull off the same thing at a much lesser cost, but keeping the customer in mind. It's what the customer wants at the end of the day. You're selling to the customer. So you're really going into their psyche and understanding what is it that is going to make that moment of conversion happen. It's like in India, when you go to a point of sale, in most stores, the experience is so good when you shop, but when you go to the point of sale, it's so bad that 50% of the times you probably leave a couple of items and walk off in irritation because either the machine doesn't work or the salesperson there doesn't know how to scan it properly. But it's so sad because all that they do is centered around that one place, the conversion point. The conversion is at the point of sale. That's where you pay the money, damn it. So even for an e-commerce website, everything is about the conversion. It's not the add to cart, it's a checkout. So to get to checkout, the amount of effort you have to make, the amount of money you have to spend to get someone to press that button and actually check out is a win. It's a real win. So when it comes to when it comes to the whole journey, when I started the conversation by saying frictionless, this is what frictionless means. When you just get this person to move through the process without any stoppages, without the site failing, without the experience cracking up, images loading, super fast, and essentially making sure that at every step where there could have been a drop-off, you deny the drop-off. You just move straight through and you were out. And there you are. And that's a win.
Vishnu and I follow this guy. His name is Alex Hormozy. And he has this thing, he calls it the value equation. And he says the value equation is dream outcome multiplied by the probability of me achieving the dream outcome, divided by how much effort and sacrifice it takes for me to get to the dream outcome, and multiplied by the time it takes for me to get to the dream outcome. So you want to decrease the sacrifice, you want to decrease the time it takes to get to the dream outcome. You want to increase the probability of me actually achieving the dream outcome. And if you can take the time to zero and the sacrifice to zero, you can sell the thing for however much money you want.
Because the moment the denominator goes to zero, it's an infinite, the outcome goes closer to infinity. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an infinite number. Yeah.
And talking about LV, Gucci, Prada, what they do is, I will be perceived as a rich person or an accomplished person. Heavy probability I'll be achieved as an accomplished person because I have an LV bag. As soon as I'm out of the door, I am an accomplished person. And I have no sacrifice. I just need to pay. Can I pay? Yes. I'll pay whatever you want. And I'll take that bag. So he defines it very well. And I feel in your whole frictionless point of conversion, these are very highlighted topics of no time, no sacrifice. Just you want this, you get it tomorrow. You want this sofa, I'll deliver it to you. You want a different color, I'll give it to you. And you are enabling that. It's crazy, amazing.
So moving on to with the journey, we've gotten to 24 years now. You said for 100 employees, you would rather make it 4,000. What are some goals that you have? What if say if you have to list out your goals for the next 5 years, what would they be?
So we recently started our North America office. So we obviously know that that's the way to go for us. So one of the goals would be to expand that base and create, be close to my customers and get more business from there. The second goal for me is to is to build my data science team and my AI team and make it an enabler. Because as I see AI going, in the next 2 years, a lot of development work will be moved on to artificial intelligence and tools that are coming in, no code tools. So actually morph the company around, change it around and create more value. Goals for Navsoft would be to have an even more demanding set of customers. We are pushed to this extreme so we can give better solutions and obviously increase our top line and our bottom line. So yes, revenue is a big goal for me, growing in terms of sheer size and upgrading my quality of products that I sell to my customers. That's very important to me.
So we have a tradition on our podcast. We have a question for you left behind by the last founder who we had on. And we would also like for you to then ask a question for our next founder. So the question for you is, how do you make your business sustainable for the stakeholders, for everyone involved in it? How much time do you spend thinking? How much time do you spend thinking about it? And what are some of the steps that you use to make your business sustainable?
I think about sustainability as I eat, sleep, breathe, drink. Because 15 or 17 years ago, I saw a movie called An Inconvenient Truth by Al Gore. And in those days, I made 100 copies. I actually physically burned 100 DVDs. And I sent them to everyone I knew because I was so shocked by what I saw. So for me, sustainability is the way I breathe. So to answer the question on what do I do for that at Navsoft? Well, other than recycling my computers, I don't know what more I could do because I don't live in a country where I have the option of buying clean energy. The buildings we live in or buildings we are in at this moment are not compatible or they aren't certified to be green. But going forward, I would definitely want that everything that I do is, every code that I write or whatever I do is just that little less on the planet. Whether it be my travel, whether it be the choices we make at work. At work, we try to do whatever we can to save the environment. But I feel there's so much more that we can do. At home, we're very, very conscious about, we have no plastic at home and we follow all the rules of upcycling, recycling. But as a business, I think I have a long way to go. And I would love for anyone to help me as well to get on this journey to make sure that I'm as carbon friendly as can get.